Hey, come on, babe, follow me. I'm the Pied Piper. Follow me. I'm the Pied Piper, and I'll show you where it's at. Come on.
Hello and welcome everyone to the Funny Files Season 15 recap. It was certainly a season to remember. After the lowest numbers over the past few seasons, the league had a huge bounce back in Season 15. We had weddings in Dominican and BC. We saw newcomers such as Casey Wortman and Michelle and Dennis Epoch record their first Funny Files, and we even went to a gay bar.
Hot stuff coming through.
Dad, why did you bring me to a gay steel mill?
I don't know.
Let's get to what everyone wants to know though. The top 10 funniest people of the last 4 months. Number 10, with fittingly 10 funny files, Stephen Algabrug. Now, Stephen's funniest moment came when we were at the wedding in Dominican for Scott and Terry, and we were discussing how our song was gonna do at the reception was gonna go, and we were deciding on when we were gonna do it. And I think what Stephen meant to say is once everyone was seated and on their way and ready, but what he said was once everybody starts getting down. And so that was apparently our cue. Once people start getting down and getting the spirit, that's when we were gonna sing our song. Number 9, with 11 files, Matt the Monkey Palermo. Now, Matt's funniest moment came just about a month ago. I was talking to him about in the weightlifting, in the clean and jerk motion, which foot you place forward to get the most stabilization. And they said the way to figure it out is to have somebody push you from behind when you're not expecting it, and whichever foot goes forward to break your fall is your most dominant foot to use. And so I told Matt to do this to me when I wasn't looking, but the day went by and he still hadn't done it, so he was standing up, and so I pushed him from behind to see which foot he had, and so he pushed, and his first reaction was he thought to himself, what the fuck are you doing? But then he remembered our earlier conversation. Number 8, with 14 files, Ben Elliott. His funniest moment, it also came in Dominican. He was wearing a blue muscle shirt, tank top, and Casey was making fun of him, but I didn't hear the whole exchange. But then Ben comes over to me, and Ben's got blonde hair, shorter hair, and this comes up his tank top, and he points at Casey and says to me, "She says I look like a fucking lesbian." In a tie for 7th place with 15 files each was Devin O'Reilly and Brock O'Donnell. Devin, he doubled his amount of funny files this season, moving him from 44th all-time to 29th. His funniest moment came just this past week when Adam Nyland was asking him about a previous job he had at a farm. And the owners of the farm were the O'Rourkes. And Adam was asking Devin about it, but Devin misheard him a few times and kept thinking Adam said the Orcs. So Devin misinterpreted it, thinking Adam asked him how, if you remember working for the Orcs. And Devin was like, the Orcs? Like it's some super villain. Brock's funniest moment came in Dominican. We were playing a drinking card game, and it was a circle of cards, and they were face down. If you flipped open the card and you correctly called if it was a black or a red card, or if what suit it was, you would dish out drinks to people. And so me and Brock were sitting side by side, and we had a friend that we met there named Mike. And Brock said this just to distract everybody so that he could, once everybody's looking one way, he could flip open a card and see what it was and put it back down quickly. And so he looked behind us, he's like, is that not Mike coming out of the discoteca? So we all looked, and then he turned back. Like a few minutes later, he's doing it again. He's like, is that not Scotty coming out of the discoteca? And then a few minutes after that, he's like, is that not Terry coming out of the discoteca? And we fell for it every time, and it got funnier and funnier. In 6th place with 17 files, Bubba Sett. He also more than doubled his previous total, catapulting him from 43rd all-time to 26th. His funniest moment came near the end of the vacation in Dominican. We were out for dinner, and there was a young man, and he called himself Coffee Boy, and he mixed the coffee together with flames and all sorts of crazy stuff. And Bubba, that night, he had a very sore throat, so he had a very hoarse voice, and he could barely talk. And the whole time, he was trying to ask Coffee Boy just so he could get some coffee. But Coffee Boy was putting on a show, mixing it all up, and giving it to different people. And so Bubba was like, "Hi, coffee!" But Bubba's most clever line came, we were walking back around midnight or so, and we were walking by the gym. There was a pathway to get there, and then there was a sign up there that said gym. And all week I've been asking Bubba if he wanted to hit the gym with me, go lift the weights with me. And so and we were walking by, he jumps up in the air, he hits the sign, he says, "Hey Luke, I hit the gym with you." In 5th place with 18 files was the one and only 4-time champion in history, Scott O'Sullivan. His funniest moment came at the very start of this season. He was telling us he used to work at Canadian Tire back in his early high school days, and he actually did quite like the job, and he liked talking to people, working out the inventory and stuff, but he said all the other part-time workers, they were the laziest people ever. They would hide in the warehouse, they'd go up to the shelves, and they would sleep there. And so then Scott, the 3rd month he was there, it was almost the end of his probationary time, his boss comes up to him, and he's like, sorry, things aren't working out for you here. And Scott's like, "Are you fucking serious? I was the only one who worked today." In 4th place with 20 files, barely missing the podium again, is the funniest woman in history, Terry O'Sullivan. In many ways, it was perhaps a bigger accomplishment for her because for the first time in history, she recorded more files than her husband. It could be an awkward next season in that household with the changing of the funny guard. Her funniest moment came, we were a few months ago out in downtown Toronto. We were walking into the AMC theaters, and they have revolving doors. And so me and Scott walked through the left set of doors, and Terry went to go through the revolving doors, and she was following a homeless man who kind of got stuck in the revolving doors. And she's standing behind him. She says, "Struggle much?"
Luke, dinner's ready.
Damn it, Mom! I told you to knock! With the 3rd most funny files, claiming the bronze medal and returning from his hiatus on the podium with 21 files, Brendan Grimes. His funniest moment came in a confusing misunderstanding with Adrian during our time in British Columbia. We were at a bar there, and it was really loud. The music was pumping, and me, Brendan, and Adrian were standing around a table, and Brendan says to Adrian, he's like, "Asian at 6 o'clock." Adrian likes Asians, but he could not make out what Brendan was what Brendan was saying, and he thought he said, "My sister's hot." And so then Adrian repeats that to Brendan, saying, "Did you say my sister's hot?" But then Brendan mishears him and goes, "My sister's hot?" It was just stupid. And in a tie for 2nd most funny files with 28 each, Adrian Payne and Randall Savoie. Randall did not suffer any sophomore slump after winning last season. He stayed strong this season, capturing silver, despite being separated from me for most of the season. He made the most of his time around me though, rhyming off file after file. His funniest moment came when I was asking him advice. I saw a girl at the gym that I found quite pretty, and I asked him if I should have went over and talked to him, and he said that would have been a good option. But that was the first thing I brought up once I came into the office. It was around noon, and Matt Palermo, who we've discussed earlier, he was not in the office. He had just left. I was like, "Where did Matt go?" And so Randall, to get my ears, he's like, "Oh, he went to go talk to the girl." Obviously, he didn't. And then he's like, "You got a bike, hop on it. You can get there faster to the gym." Adrian's funniest moment was listed earlier regarding his misunderstanding with Brendan at the bar. More important, though, With his 28 files this season, Adrian has now taken over the title of funniest of all time. He has accumulated 337 lifetime funny files, one more than the man who's held that title for 4 straight years, Brendan. It is certainly a monumental moment. Now, before we proceed to name the winner, a couple honorable mentions need to go out. The first goes out to Justine Grimes, who recorded 8 funny files this season, but more importantly, had 2 of back-to-back of the funniest moments of the season. She started off when we were in BC in Rebecca Carpus's living room area, and I created a game. There was a bowl of chestnuts on the table, so I would take one chestnut at a time, toss it to someone, they would catch it, and I would just keep tossing them to keep catching and keep putting the chestnuts away, and I just keep going. But Justine was having no part of this game. I would take one of the chestnuts, throw it at her, and she would not even attempt to catch it. She would just let it hit her, and so I would keep throwing them one after the other, and she just sat there with the chestnuts chucking off of her, and she just started crying in laughter, and it would just keep going and going. And then about few minutes after that, I created another game where you would take an imaginary ball, bounce it on the floor across to the next person, they would catch it, toss it back to you. And so I took the ball, I threw it to Adrian. While I was doing that, Brendan had walked to go to the bathroom. He walked by Justine and put his sweater over her head like this. And so as I threw the ball to Adrian, the imaginary ball, Adrian caught it and did a no-look pass towards Justine. And so he tossed it to Justine, and then we all looked to Justine to see if she's going to catch it or not. And we looked at Justine, and she's like this. Completely unresponsive to what was going on. We all had a good laugh about that. The second honorable mention goes to Scott Grimes for his response to a text of mine. Brendan, his brother, told me a while ago about a restaurant, like kind of a Chuck E. Cheese themed restaurant in Guelph. It was called Mr. Chuckles. And Mr. Chuckles was the mascot of the restaurant, a big dinosaur that walked around. And Brendan had told me once that Mr. Chuckles did not like it when you grabbed his tail. Which makes sense. A grown man in a mascot costume doesn't want to be fucked around with the kids. And so I texted that to Scott Grimes the other day. I said, Mr. Chuckles did not like it when you grabbed his tail. And he responded with, I heard he killed a kid in the ball pit. Which obviously did not happen, but very funny to think of. And now, here it is, the funniest person of Funny File Season 15, winning his first ever championship after it eluding him for almost half a decade with an even 30 funny files, Luke Nater! I did it! I finally did it! I am the funniest person, finally! My funniest moment was when Scott and Terry and I were at Walmart and we were shopping. I needed to get a birthday present for my youngest niece, Andy. And so we were looking around and Terry brought over a bear on the front that said, "Live and Learn." Apparently an instructional tool to teach kids how to spell. But I don't know why I misspoke, but she handed me the bear, and I read it and went, "Live in Lierne." I misread it, where the comedy comes from, because it's a learning tool for children. A 25-year-old could not figure out how to pronounce learn. For an updated spreadsheet of everyone's funny file totals, please find it in the first comments below. Thank you all again for your funniest in 2016, and I have a feeling 2017 could be even funnier. God bless.
Hey, come on, baby, follow me. I'm the Pied Piper. Follow me. I'm the Pied Piper, and I'll show you where it's at.
Something you make conversation about when you meet a stranger.
How about maybe mutual friends? Someone you might...
I got you.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever seen you before. How's Harry? Who's Harry? My friend.
You're Bob Stone.
I made that name up.
So what?
It's not real.
What does that mean? What do you think Mr. T and Sting and The Rock, you think those guys are real? That's a bunch of dumbass nicknames by a bunch of dumbass people.
We literally changed the secret handshake.
Can you teach it to me a little later? I don't like the expression in your face. Sounds like we're not shaking hands.
That I realized, oh, black people live in a different world than white people.
Yeah.
I didn't really know that till I heard that bit. So their Playboy is different from our Playboy.
Yeah.
And they're not that thrilled with it.
If a game of volleyball broke out and it's shirts and skins, I would definitely say I gotta be on shirts. Would you care? Does that even cross your mind? Do you even care which side you're on?
Listen, if a game of volleyball broke out, I'm out of there.
And maybe I can't turn right on a red light, but tabarnak, I can go right through it.
I'm sorry, you're a little bit early, Ryan. This is not the time that you're...
Shut up!
Elliot looked straight into Quacky's eyes. Quacky looks sad.
Forget the League of Nations. Oh, look at Jericho. Rusev is now in a league of his own. Yeah, and the Cartwheel sucked. The heck is that? What kind of referee acts like that? They did the funky chicken. He's let loose. Oh, and a Superman punch.
No, you have the wrong number. This is Shirley Douglas's residence.
Really?
Yes, I should know. She's my mother.
Your mother? You still live with your mother? How old are you?
I'm hanging up now.
Kiefer, who was that?
Damn it, Mom! I told you to knock before you come in.
Again, he didn't know. I had no idea you were planning to do this.
Wow, you got a lot of nerve, Kimmel.
Yeah.
These knives can kill people, and I'm just the man to do it.
She said,
So what do you make conversation with a stranger? Jimmy said, mutual friends?